Question number 2. On a Saturday, Lucas drove 4x minus 5 miles. On Sunday, he drove 3x minus 10 miles. What's the difference in miles driven? Now, key to this question. When it says difference, I need someone to raise their hand. Tell me, what does difference stand for? Difference stand for? Rogan. Subtract. Now, please write 4x minus 5. That's one event, so I'm putting parentheses around it. I'm separating my two events. And then I got 3x minus 10. It's a difference, so I'm going to subtract these. Now, if subtraction was easy, 4x minus 3x is 1x. That's fine. But this one becomes weird. Negative 5 minus a negative 10. We've learned integers enough that some of you could almost advance to the 4x minus 3x is 1, negative 5 minus a negative 10, can't subtract negatives, plus a positive, change it. And you could get me that answer right away, not show a whole lot of work. That's okay. Now, I'm not always a big fan of you guys using shortcuts, or every single person understanding how to use a shortcut, because guess what? If your mind isn't wired to see that, you're just writing down what the kid next to you got, and you're saying, uh-huh. So, I need to get rid of these parentheses. I multiply it by negative 1. Then I'm allowed to combine like terms. Now, if I multiply this one by 1 up front, it's just 4x minus 5. So, negative 1 times 3, minus 3x. A negative 1 times a negative 10. Who wants to raise their hand and tell me negative times negative will give me a what?
Positive.
Positive what?
10.
Can anybody remember what property tells me when I multiply by 1? Multiplicative what?
The other thing.
Starts with an I. ID. Thank you. Got another winner here. 4x minus 5 minus 3x plus 10. Now, here's the deal. We have studied integers at the beginning of the year. We have studied adding integers. We are combining like terms. We box things. A 4x and a minus 3x. Opposite signs, subtract. Keep the sign of the larger absolute value, 4. 4x minus 3x is 1x or x. I'm brilliantly smart. I'm just rolling with taking the 1 off there. I have a minus 5 plus 10. If I'm combining like terms, I'm adding positive, negative. 10 minus 5 is 5. Keep the sign of 10 because it's the larger absolute value. This will be plus 5. My answer, x plus 5 is my correct answer. So I'm going to color in C. But more importantly, I have all the work. I got all the work that shows it too. Now, let's go up to the top. I had told you earlier, 4x minus 5 minus 3x minus 10. This is what your problem started out as, okay? Could I have done 4x minus 3x in my head and gotten x? Yes. Could I have done a negative 5 minus a negative 10? Can't subtract negatives, add the opposite. Yeah, that's your shortcut. I'm not a big fan of using shortcuts unless you know. Opposite sign, subtract, keep the sign a larger. Boom. X plus 5.